What you're about to hear is pure entertainment, recaps, and stories in the Pacific Northwest motocross scene. Welcome to the 30 Plus 2 podcast with your hosts, Steven Kristoff and Lexi Y. Put the board up. Let's go!
All right, this is Steven Kristoff here with the 30 Plus 2 podcast, texting on the job. We're going to have to contact HR Lexi about that.
Yeah.
We're on. Yeah, all right. You can turn me in if you want. But yeah, technical difficulty per usual. Lexi, you can tell I'm a little on edge tonight from a long day of work. But hey, we've got some awesome guests coming on. We've got Matt Webb, MX Dad and Promoter. Very broad title I put there. Sorry, Matt. Lexi, give me a little bit of details of who we have coming on that you're bringing on, because you brought on Rando last week, and that was a great episode. Got a lot of positive feedback, and you're just keeping them rolling. You're in charge. You're large and in charge now here on the 30 Plus podcast. So take us through a little bit with Matt real quick on just a little more rundown. What does he do for promotions that we'll get into here a bit?
I met Matt back in 2019. Me and his daughter Kyler raced, and the Norcs series, actually. That was one of the first series that I did the whole entire series of. And we battled it out every single race, and it was so much fun getting a relationship with them. And I think it was maybe 4 years ago, Matt started doing Cowboy Cross in Ellensburg, Washington. It's enduro cross, and there's bull riding, and it's super cool. And then this year, he did an add-in arena cross the weekend before or after. And it's just an arena cross in the Ellensburg Rodeo Arena, and that's super cool. And he has a son, Kason Webb, who is, I believe, 14 or 15. I think 15.
Sweet.
And he races and does all the local series, and yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go more in depth on that, but yeah, very great. Better description than MX Dad and Promoter that I put there. Like I said, sorry. I was quick. I was like a cat on the keyboard. I'm like, I got to get this done. Later on in the show, we'll have John Beal on, PNW Northwest Pro Rider. He'll have to help me out on classifications there off-road, but he was at Horn Rapids this past week. And did you see any of the photos from Horn? It was packed.
There were like a lot of people there.
It looked like a freaking RV sales lot, like just Oprah handing out RVs everywhere and trailers. Like, you get an RV, you get an RV. Like, it was just stacked. I've never seen that, like, but I didn't attend. I'm one of those couch side reporters. But hey, we have John on here later in the show at our 7:00 hour to go through all the wickedness of doing Norcs. So my first question in our banter here for a few more minutes before we have Matt come on is, I feel like you've done Norcs before. You've done something like that. Am I wrong? Am I right? Am I like a lunatic? And I think you do stuff like that or have done stuff like that?
Yes, I have done it. And 2019 was my first time ever doing it. I got the Women's Beginner Championship, my first ever championship, which was really cool. And I did them here and there. They were never really my favorites. I love being on the track. I love jumping. And Norcs is really cool because they do like half trail, half track. So you get a little bit of both. But Horn is for sure probably my least favorite Norcs of them all. It's fun. The sand whoops are fun for about the first 400 feet of the track, but when it's in a whole hour and a half of doing the exact same track over and over and over again, it gets a little tiring and not my favorite. But
so you're saying you need endurance.
Yes. Yes. But Norcs is a really fun one, and it's grown so big. They have a women's D, C, B, A, and double A. And there's women's packed in every single one of them. It's really cool.
Now, I can't remember. Did you do it last year?
I did the horn one, and I think that's about it.
Yeah, you did the horn one last year, correct? I'm trying to
Yes.
remember which woman I had on the podcast. I know Claire Brown did it as well, but it was like a Dust Bowl last year, if I remember.
Yeah, and apparently this year there's winds, like just the sand. As soon as the wind starts, the sand's always in your face, and
Yeah.
even the people just watching said that they had to wear glasses or goggles or something to keep the sand out of their eyes.
Well, based on some of the photos, which I know sometimes photos don't do their justice, it looked like it was better conditions this year. I think all that rain really helped kind of keep everything packed down and keep it from the Dust Bowl conditions that they had the prior year. But yeah, John will fill us in once he comes on here about our 7 o'clock hour. But yeah, we've got Matt Webb backstage right now. So let's throw our commercial on here. And yeah, let's get into knowing all about Cowboy Cross and everything else he has to offer, as well as being a rad motocross dad, keeping things strong and keeping things local for our 30+2 podcast. So we'll bring him on here right after this short commercial for spring break camp that's coming up. Coming to Horn Rapids Motorcycle Complex, April 7th through 9th. Next Level MX Clinics brings you the 2025 Spring Break MX Camp. Joining forces with the Clinic MX, Jason Valley and Mike Smith have a week full of fun ready for you. Training, coaching, learning on and off the bike, and bonus events included in a week full of fun. Pit bike racing, hole shot challenge, and start school lined up all for you. Join Next Level MX April 7th through 9th at Horn Rapids Motorcycle Complex. To register, head to nextlevelmx.com. Limited spots remaining. All right, and we are back with Matt. Let me fix the whole screen here. Nope, we're just making it worse. I don't know what is going on here. We are a hot mess today, Matt. I am sorry. Anyways, welcome to the show, Matt, as I try to figure out my life. There we go. Welcome to the show on the 30+2 podcast. Thanks for joining us. This was Lexi's invite here to join us to talk about Cowboy Cross and everything else you have to offer. So I'm just going to give the driving wheel over to Lexi, and yeah, we'll get into everything that you do in Pacific Northwest.
Perfect. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
Of course. So, knowing that the promoting and stuff, how did you get into dirt bikes at the very beginning and the promoting and all of it?
Gosh, kind of grew up just trail riding. My parents didn't let me race, but had a XR80 way back when. They just thought racing was too dangerous. So I didn't do my first actual motocross race. Wasn't until the old SIR, I think when I was like 18 or 19 years old. Just raced locally and then went off to college at Central. And when I went to college, I sold my bikes. So the transition of my motorcycle racing ended, and that's where I actually pursued a rodeo career.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, I got into, I rodeoed at Central and rode bulls and fought bulls, and actually got into raising, bucking bulls, team roped, rode bareback horses, worked on ranches in Central and Ellensburg throughout college. So kind of went all in the cowboy rodeo lifestyle, and for about 10 years. And then maybe when I was about 30, got another bike and just have been racing and riding for the last 20 years pretty consecutively.
So you went from one extreme sport to an even more extreme sport, the unpredictability of a bull. Like, take us through that that decision making there, because I feel like, yes, sometimes the bike underneath you can be, unpredictable, but you're on a freaking beast here with with bulls. Like, what was that decision making jumping into that?
Yeah, I don't know what caused me to, I think living in Ellensburg, it's pretty common. It's a cowboy culture over here, and I just wanted to try it. And then I just pursued it and got pretty good into it and just followed it pretty consecutively for multiple years. And that's kind of was the fallback on why I started Cowboy Cross 7 years ago, was just having a background in both kind of extreme events. It was why has nobody ever combined the two together? So that's kind of where it was stemmed from, is just having a background in both motorcycle racing and rodeo.
Yes.
Nice.
That's crazy. That was 7 years ago. We were at the very first one, and that is a long time ago that Cowboy Cross started. I didn't realize that. But
yeah, it was started, I think it was supposed to go in 2017, but there was a fire and we canceled it, I think in 17 or 16. And then we got going, and then it canceled in COVID. And then we've been going ever since. And it's quickly, we had Tristan Hart show up last year, which was, obviously Erzberg podium placer, hard enduro champion, enduro cross champion, factory KTM. So having him show up to our event was, like a pinnacle and, and part of it. And Colton Haker and just some really top-notch guys are starting to show up. Now it's getting recognized and it's on the map that they're enjoy coming to it. So it's cool to see the growth of it.
Yeah, I've heard it kind of time and time again since I follow mainly motocross events with PRO and whatnot. I know I want to say it was like Cody Wingardner at one point was saying that he's going to go do Cowboy Cross. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, oh, yeah, I got, you got all this stuff that you just explained going on. I'm like, dude, I'm going to have to like eventually come and check this thing out. And, you're in would this be your 8th year in 2025 or 7th?
8th.
Oh,
sorry. This will be, I think I'm coming in my 7th year.
7th year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you said, growing and getting, a name for yourself as a promoter and whatnot, and combining the two. Was that, I'm trying to think, like, how did you like think? I know you said with your cowboy culture and everything else over there, like, did you feel like this was a crazy idea, or did you think like, oh, this is going to really work out and like, we'll see where it goes? Like, did you ever imagine you'd be going into your 7th year, combining the two sports together?
It was actually, I actually tried to get it approved for almost 10 years, but it got denied from the Ellensburg Fairgrounds because the arena was equine only, and so they weren't allowing anybody to use that arena for any motorized sports. They'd done like some truck pulls and some like smash up derby type stuff, and they left too much. There was too much residual impact, and so they canceled it because the horse people they were mad. So that went on like a 10-year stand of basically I was getting denied, and then they got a new guy in there that wanted to make more revenue for the fairgrounds. And so I got a foot in the door, but no, everybody I talked to originally that I was trying to get some sponsorships and like, hey, I have this idea. They're like, what are you talking about? We don't even understand. Even my wife was like, I don't get it. I don't understand what you're trying to do. And in my mind, I'm like, why has no one done this? Because enduro cross is a lot like bull riding, in my opinion. You can be out front, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's a split second, just, train wreck, really, because it's so enduro cross is very, it's almost like bull riding. You just don't know what's going to happen next, and so I thought the two disciplines would go well together, but nobody knew what I was trying to accomplish. And even myself, I was like trying to form it. And then just in the last couple of years, it's really come around to where now we know what we're doing and where we want to go with it.
Yeah.
I think that it's one of the funnest races I've ever done. I think it was 2022 was the first time I did it before, but it's the first time I ever did like the real track, and getting on it, like you can sit in the stands and be like, oh yeah, they can't make it over the log. Oh yeah, they can't make it over the rock. And as soon as you get on there, it is the most challenging thing I've ever done, but it is so much fun to be like, oh my gosh, I just made it through that. And it was such a fun race, especially being on I was on the super mini when I did it. and being able to be like, I just made it through that on that one, and the videos of me eating it in the rocks and stuff. But it was just so much fun looking past it and having fun. And I can't wait to do it this year because I'm going to take the 125 out there.
Jeez.
Perfect. Yeah, it's definitely a spectator sport because when, we go to motocross races and obviously it's just dirt and everybody flows and usually everybody makes it through, but there's really no awe factor in a motocross track. I mean, where we can build the coolest, gnarliest stuff that you'd be like surprised that people would go over, and these guys go over it so easy. But yeah, like Cody Wingardner, who obviously has a motocross background, the guy's fast. He showed up and actually rode a bull and rode the race as well, So like I said, it's very different discipline when these top pro motocross kids come and try to do it and they struggle. It's there's not many guys who can cross over and do it well. Blake Davies from Canada, the kid that's been riding West Coast Supercross.
Oh yeah.
He came down this year and man, he rode both my events and he killed it. That guy can ride obviously endurocross, he can ride motocross, he can ride supercross. Guys like Dylan Summerlin, they cross over well. He rides all that stuff really well. So, but yeah, those guys definitely, have different, there's a different dynamic to it basically on both those top levels.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just speaking like with Norcs racing, which we'll talk about later on the show with John, this like the crossover that a lot of these riders have, you have to have a certain talent, in my opinion, to try to do both. Like I've always been motocross only, so I've never ventured in other types of motorcycle sports, but just to have that talent and then skills and ability and willingness to cross into different avenues, that has to be quite a challenge there.
Yeah, I was actually at Norcs this weekend, and there was a lot of fast motocross guys that were racing off road this weekend. I actually had to line up against them, but it's I mean, Colin Jern. Raced against Colin and
I know Chase Larson was there, the 2024 champion. He was rocking the #1 plate. I was trying to get him on tonight, but he's too busy signing autographs right now, so we'll get him on later.
Wyatt Creighton was there, he was a Loretta kid, 250A Loretta qualifier. I mean, there's a bunch of. So I think that transition from off-road to motocross, these guys are. That crossover seems to be a closer match, but then this endurocross thing is just its own crazy world.
Yeah.
One talented rider to cross through Norcs and Moto to enduro.
Yeah.
Well, and then just speaking on the pro side, when endurocross started, I have a few DVDs before Lexi's time of I think it was Ryan Hughes was trying it, and then Mike Brown at some point. Those are the only two I can think of off the top of my head. I know Jeff Aaron went from trials over there to do everything else, but yeah. Lexi, what other questions do you have?
Yes. With being a moto dad and being in that world, how does it feel like seeing and owning dirt bike shops and stuff? How is it being a moto dad that rides with your son and being out the track and watching your daughter Kyler race for a long time, and Kaysen, how does it growing up with them with dirt bikes and being the moto dad out there?
Yeah, it's been fun. I wasn't raised in the racing world with my dad. So to have my kids both do it, it's been great. We've been through some challenging times recently. I mean, obviously my daughter had a really bad injury, and I think that was probably one of the reasons that she's not doing it any longer. She had a really bad tibia-fibia break and was basically in a wheelchair for 3 months. So that I think kind of just took the wind out of her sails. She tried to come back, but pretty tough. And I think she was just worried about getting hurt. And then recently my son was hurt in April at round 3 and 4. It was actually round 3 of PRO. And so we've been off the whole last summer. I just recently got back on my bike recently just to start riding again, and attended my first race, actually just the NMA round a couple weeks ago, and then Norcs just Saturday. But he got hurt in April and went through an 8-hour surgery at Children's
Jeez.
Hospital. And it was a fluke accident kind of that happened almost to what happened with Lexi, but fracture on his knee. So they did about 3.5, 4 hours of surgery on his knee and about 3.5, 4 hours of surgery on his ankle. And non-weight bearing, about a year recovery. And now we're at a point where we're trying to get him going again. And it's just the transition from where he was to get him strong mentally, physically, to get him back going is challenging. Just like everybody, I'm sure, that's watching this. I mean, it's a crazy sport. Mentally, physically, we all assume the risk, and every time we put our helmets on and boots on, it's evident and it's there. So we're just going through a transition period with my son of, where he wants to be, what he wants to do, and how we're going to get there. So it's definitely a tough sport.
Yes. It's crazy that me and Kaysen had the same ankle break, and he didn't even crash. It was just a case, and that was exactly what happened with mine. I overjumped in and did the same thing. And it's crazy, like the mental part of it. Like coming back physically is one thing, but to get out there and have the mental state that you can do it again, you can be where you're gonna want to be again, and it's hard to get back to where it is, and it's definitely.
Oh, you froze a little bit. I don't know why we're having connection issues today.
Yeah, no, that's the. Did you?
Sorry, Matt, it lagged there. What did you say?
You're good. I think that's been one of the hardest parts is he had such a severe injury and he didn't crash that I think he's probably trying to process, if I can get this hurt this bad and not crash, what happens when I do crash, and we all have had injuries. I mean, everybody watching this, have seen and gone through crashes where we get back up and we're bumps and bruises and we walk away. But I think, even for as a parent trying to process the amount of pain he went through and just the recovery from an injury where he didn't crash, I think you kind of start to second guess the whole sport of motocross. I mean, and motorcycles in general, just how dangerous it is and what can happen at any second. So I think we're just going through, the physical part of it is one thing, but the mental part of it is such a big part of the game.
Yeah. Well, on the upside, though, with your promotions and whatnot, maybe he follows your footsteps on helping grow everything that you have going there to stay in the sport. I know with me and my racing abilities and injuries, I've stacked up. I've, done more of the media side, and now I have Lexi, taunting me, saying that she's quicker than me. So now she's forcing me to get back on a bike here. But there's so many avenues in our sport of racing where you could go and not even have to be on a bike, like you were saying.
Yeah, she goes pretty fast now, so you better watch out.
Oh, I know. The bet is like 50-1 right now on Lexi beating me on our race here in September.
But it is awesome that even not being on the bike, where you can stay in the sport and how many different turns and twists you can go. Like being a woman, I know I'm not going to make it in the racing part of it, but being able to, I want to be at Supercrosses. I want to be talking. I'm a really big talker, and I love to just be out there and do trackside reporting or announcing or something in it. So it's really cool about all the different things that you can be doing. And some of them, if you asked me 3 years ago, this is definitely not the route I would ever want to go down. But it's so cool to be able to meet different people and see different routes that I can go down.
Yeah, I think it's great. I was talking to your dad about that, and I think it's a perfect, goal and an avenue for you to go down. I think it's awesome. But yeah, there's so much camaraderie in this industry, and it's cool just to be part of it. I mean, I'd like a lot of people who are probably watching. I just like being at the races. We just like being around dirt bikes and talking dirt bikes and shooting shop talk, so
it's addicting.
It's totally addicting. So I think, if you've got that passion, Lexi, like you do, it's an awesome way for you to pursue it and look long-term. It's great.
Yes. Awesome.
Right away. So take us through as we wrap up. Information for Cowboy Cross, and for those that don't know about it, I know we kind of touched on it a little bit there, but like with it growing and whatnot, what's the dates for 2025? What should people expect coming in? Skill levels, classes, like what do you have to offer for newcomers that want more information?
Yeah, website. We have Facebook and Instagram. So there's a Cowboy Cross page itself, and then the name of my promoting company is Web Events. So that's kind of where we market everything for the Arena Cross race. Last year was the first year we did the Arena Cross, and it's the weekend before. So this year it's September 20th and 21st, and we'll have practice Friday night and then race Saturday and Sunday. It is the same weekend as the Spokane Arena Cross that Seth puts on. The way that the Ellensburg Rodeo on Labor Day weekend, we just can't get around those conflicting schedules. So yeah, we're always going to kind of fall on top of each other. So, but it worked out last year. A bunch of the top pros, went over and raced at Seth, and then they came back and raced our event on Sunday on the way home. So we had quite a few good fast guys there over that weekend on Sunday. So basically, if you're into arena cross or a motocross, or the first weekend we have a really cool track. We're bringing like 3,000 yards of dirt. So it's a legit huge arena cross race that is pulling like over 1 minute lap times. So it's pretty big for an indoor track. And then that's the first weekend. And then we convert everything during the week and then basically bring in logs and rocks, and we run practice on the 26th and the event is on the 27th. And we have kids classes, Stasic 50, 65, 85, pro, 40 plus, women's. And we just, depending on the skill level, you're either going to, open expert, you run the whole course, so we'll bypass some of the tougher, rock gardens or firewood sections, depending on skill set. And little kids will run around all of the obstacles. It's kind of a hybrid track that we run a lot of, there's a lot of dirt obstacles, a lot of dirt track as well.
Okay.
Combined with an enduro cross. So, I mean, if you're a pretty good motocrosser that's got some bike skills, you can actually do pretty well at it and still complete it. It's not just a gnarly full-on enduro cross track. It's kind of a hybrid.
Well, sweet. I just looked at my schedule and it happens to be open, so there's a chance that I could probably tag along with Lexi here and get all those tip over things, as payback for Lexi smoking me the week prior.
And they always have the coolest trophies ever at Cowboy Cross. Man. So that's one thing. I think I have.
Oh, there you go.
Here.
Of course, it's a first place. You wanted to make sure that was in the shot,
Of course,
Are you spill the beans on any
Lexi, now you can say that you're not the only one hasn't. Your sister's probably won belt buckles, and you have too, right? So
I have 2 belt buckles. I've got.
There you go.
Baby. So I mean, it's bigger than hers. So.
Well, sweet. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, Matt. We're going to jump in with our next guest here, John Beal, and I'll just pop him on right now because it sounds like you two kind of know each other. What's up, John?
What up?
So, yeah,
dude.
Sounds like you guys hung out.
Yeah, dude, we've motoed a few times together over the years. Yeah, no, dude, Matt's I have a lot of respect for Matt and everything he's done for the industry and, his events and just the whole growth of it all. I wish I could have been a little bit more by his side over the years and help him out. Right. Dude, he doesn't need any help, dude. He's doing a kick-ass job, so it's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate you. He was going by me at 100 a few weeks ago at the NMA race in Sportsman. So
I was gonna say, to put a little spiciness in the podcast, who's faster at the moment? Is it John or Matt?
Oh, he blows my doors off. Yeah, he goes really fast.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We all have our days. Sometimes I just get real lucky.
So yeah, we ask the hard-hitting questions here on the 30+2 podcast. We like to create a drama too. So Well, Matt,
I'm always down to solve some drama on the moto track at any given point in time. Like, I'm willing to step up.
Well, Matt, you're welcome to stick around if you want. If not, we'll catch you at Cowboy Cross and further on throughout the season. But yeah, I figured I'd just bring John on since he said, "Oh yeah, I know Matt." And Lexi's all like, "I think Matt knows John." I'm like, "Hey, we unintentionally got guests that know each other."
Yeah, you know what's really sad about this too is I've never actually gotten to go ride Cowboy Cross, and I've raced the entire Enduro Cross series multiple times. I mean, I've done all kinds of stuff, put on Enduro Crosses myself, and I've yet to get over there and race Cowboy Cross, and I really feel like I've dropped the ball on that one. There've been a couple of times where I'm just like, "Hey, Cowboy Cross is this weekend," and I looked at my motorcycle, and I looked at the couch, and I looked at my motorcycle, and the couch won.
Well, Matt, this can be your time to like challenge John and be like, "Hey, you better be there for my event this year because this is a recorded podcast, and you could use this as evidence." Be like, "Hey, you said you were gonna be there, and we have a timestamp."
There you go. 6 months of lead time awareness. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, you want to stick around, or are you gonna carry on with the rest of your evening?
Oh yeah, either way, whatever you guys want. I can hang out and
totally up to you. But I'm gonna transfer my focus over to John. You were reaching out to me, "Hey man, you got a podcast? I want to jump on at some point." And I'm all like, "Who is this man?" But we got you on. It's a little blurry. Look at all the stuff in the background. Jumping in, you got a lot of photos of a lot of cool things that you've done. Take us a little bit on the background of who John Beal is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what are you referring to? That would be the question.
Well, you sent me a list here. You're Desert 100 champion. You've got some stuff. It looked like you raced like overseas. You had some USA stuff going on. Like, take us through a little bit of your bio for those that don't know any of your racing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's I started into the game a little bit like at maybe an older age for a dirt bike racer, I guess, because I never rode a motorcycle till I was 16. And then, sometime around like 19, I turned pro. And, I've been to Loretta's and Ponca and done all the like amateur national stuff, like as a younger rider, and got on the US ISDE team racing off-road kind of during the same era. I was a junior trophy rider a couple years in a row in like 2000, 2001. Raced four-stroke nationals, raced Pace Stadium Thunderbike Series, which is kind of a like precursor of like an indoor supercross for four strokes.
Okay.
Did enduro cross, did works, GNCC, national enduros. I mean, yeah, there have been a few countries involved, a few continents, and obviously a lot of stuff around locally. I've raced all kinds of local arena crosses and, Pac West series and PRO series and MMA off-road and Norcs. I mean, yeah, flat track. I've done some street bike racing. It's a little bit of everything. So,
man, you already beat my rap sheet of everything. I'm just moto. Lexi's got a few more things. I didn't ask too much on Matt on how many different aspects he did. I know he said moto and enduro cross stuff, but take us through Horn Rapids and the turnout that was there. And Matt, you're welcome to jump in anytime and talk about recapping Horn. It looked like it was a packed house. Any jitters on the gate?
Horn was enormous. I mean, that was probably one of the bigger turnouts I think I've seen at a motorcycle race in Washington, or even maybe even kind of on the West Coast. I mean, except for the Desert 100, that's huge, and maybe except for Washougal National.
Yeah,
I can't really think of anything that's been bigger than that Norcs turnout. That was huge.
Well, based off the photos, I was not even expecting I don't know. I have never done Norcs, so I was kind of like, I've seen it at Washougal when I'm picking stuff up from JMC when they're there doing their vending, and haven't actually taken a chance to see what Norcs is all about, but it seems like that's the most popular event as of late right now for riding and racing purposes, with the amount of time you get to ride your dirt bike.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost your connection.
How was
Oh,
the track this weekend? Was it a long one? Was it like really, did they get really whooped out towards the end?
Yeah, honestly, the conditions for Horn Rapids this weekend were there. I mean, Horn Rapids is like by far one of the most grueling races like that there is on the series. And partly what I always tell people is it's kind of the first race out of the year and everybody's a little soft from chilling on the couch all winter. And then you come out and go into the gnarliest one. So it really kind of separates the men from the boys as far as who's been in the gym or who's been riding or who's been doing something versus like who's been couching it all winter. You know, I'm the couch guy, so, you know, it's tough for me to go out there. But, you know, Horn's been one of those dusty, really nasty races in the past that's hard to see, not much visibility. And we got some rain this year, which was phenomenal for the visibility, but it really changed the bumps, I would say, from kind of the more rolly sand whoops to a lot more chop and some stuff that like you fought the bike a little harder this weekend just to get through. It was a tough race. I mean, all Norcs races are long, and you know, when the gate drops or the flag flies, like you're in it till the finish. Like if you want to finish, you're gonna grind it out, period. Like, you know, it's hard to keep a solid pace going the whole time, no matter what the course is. But Horn Rapids will eat you alive. As soon as you sit down, it's over.
Matt, correct me if you're wrong. If I'm wrong, did you race or did you just spectate this weekend?
No, I raced on Saturday in Sportsman.
Okay.
How did that go? Walk us through that.
Gosh, I mean, Tate and Taft Matherly are the you know, run the show, and they've done such a great job of basically, I think one of the big draws of that event is they've done such a great job of putting everything in their own category. So like you said, there's now a women's class that runs in short course 2, and they put a lot of effort into kind of making everybody feel like they have a spot. And so now that they've done this, I ran short course 3, which is in the afternoon. It kind of allows me to just day trip it. In the past, I've ran Super Senior A because I'm 52 years old. So I run with the 50A guys normally, but now I've just been riding Sportsman Expert in the afternoons just for a timing thing. But gosh, I think I raced against John at the NMA round a couple of weeks ago, and there was like 60 something guys in that one. I wasn't there, John. Wasn't there a bunch in the NMA one?
Sorry, you broke up for a second. What?
I think at the NMA round where John had raced, I think there was like 50 or 60 guys in the NMA Sportsman, and then I think Norcs had like,
yeah, it was big.
Yeah, and
that was a big event too.
Huge. And then I think the Norcs one had like 45 guys on Saturday. But yeah, I managed to get a really good start. Like I was 3rd or 4th out of the corner, but with guys like, you know, Colin Jern and Wyatt Creighton and Tyler Hansen and all these fast guys, I went from 4th to 14th really fast. And then I think I ended up finishing like 16th or 17th or something. But it was like John was saying, the NMA round was way faster. I mean, just long rollers, just you're looking over at the highway and keeping up with the cars. And the Team Tortoise guys managed to slow it down and make it way more turny and technical, but therefore it also made it really choppier. And I thought it was way more physically exerting for the team. The Team Tortoise one was tougher for me than the NMA round physically.
Wow. John, what about take us through your race day and weekend? Like, were you lined up against roughly the same riders? What was your competition like out there?
Yeah, and like so this year for like the AA riders, they kind of kicked us out of that Sportsman race, which happens on Saturday, which the last few years we've been kind of just using as a testing race. You know, we all go out and kind of click suspension and mess around and don't really like race it. But I think it was really kind of screwing up to the other riders. So they gave us like a AA sight lap special practice after that. So that was on Saturday, and you got a little look at the course, and then, you know, Sunday, you know, 11:30 or whatever that we took off, and it's game on. And the course has been raced on by many riders by the time they even start the pro race on Sunday. So it's beat before we even get out there. Like, the difference between Saturday's like sight lap and Sunday's start of the race was like, I mean, 20% deeper holes and bumps and you name it. I mean, it's pretty brutal. So, but I really like Horn, you know, like I'm kind of a sloppy rider, if you want to call it that. Like, I like to let the bike kind of wander and be a little, like, you know, loose on it, and the sand and kind of the bumps and the junk lets me just kind of play with it and let it go where it wants to go and hold the throttle wide open. So, you know, Horn and a few of these other like faster races like that are good for me. And I'm usually smiling the whole time, even though my body hurts and I'm getting a little tired. Like, I'm still pretty stoked at the end of the race. And, you know, Sunday, it was a good race for me. I mean, I got the whole shot and battled for a little bit and had another guy in 30 plus AA that was just having a day, and he was on rails. And I kind of said, if I can catch you by the end of the race, if you can ride that pace the whole way, like, you deserve to win today, because I'm not going to go that pace the whole rest of the day. And he held it on. I mean, so, you know, by the end of the race, he was still ahead of me, and I didn't really close on him. And so I ended up second, you know, but it was, you know, you got to take some wins sometimes too, right? You, like, at this point in time, like, you know, I'm almost 46 years old. I'm raising 18-year-old kids on dirt bikes in the pro class. Like, you know, you're like, what am I doing out here? This is ridiculous at some point. But yeah, you know, if I can be inside the like top 10 overall and be on the podium of the 30 plus AA class and walk away healthy and have a good weekend with the family and whatever, and just take some of the kids' money, then I'm happy doing that.
Stealing the kids' lunch money there.
I do. Nothing's cooler than taking their lunch money. I took some kids' lunch money at Arena Cross this year in Monroe, and I think like, dude, I rolled out there on a bike with hand guards that I'd raced at the ISDE. It was not set up for Arena Cross. And, you know, and I took some of their money, ended up finishing second to Colin, of all people, you know. So
I missed that. I missed that like, weekend. I started dipping my feet wet in Monroe Arena Cross, driving 4 hours up there, and I missed that one. I'll have to try again in the future. Are either of you guys sore from the weekend?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I fared pretty well this weekend. Like, the one thing I will say is, if you're in a battle for the lead, you do some ridiculous stuff to battle for the lead. But if you're not, and you're not getting passed by second or third, you know what I mean? You're not really in a battle, and you're just kind of riding your own race, which is where my head was at. You don't really push. You kind of don't like hang on as hard. You just don't do some stuff that you normally would do if you're not like trying to take it to the next level. And so like I walked away without blisters on my hands. I walked away with like generally not being super sore. I mean, you know, I'm pretty excited. I'm headed back over this weekend. I'm going to go race that Black Widow race at Horn this weekend and just get some more seat time and, you know, do some fun stuff.
Question for both of you, because I'm not Norcs like oriented at all. Like, what is your strategy racing these types of events? Like, are you trying to like kind of MXGP style, like sprint hard and then kind of cruise? Are you trying to sprint the whole time? Like, first I'll go with you, John. Like, what's your type of like racing style to try to like separate yourself from everyone?
And adding to that, your gas stops. Like, how do you guys like to think about that? If I think that you guys have to take a gas stop.
Yeah, and Horn's one of those places for me where like over the years, like the last few years, I've been racing the 2-stroke pretty much exclusively, partly because of going to ISDE and doing the 6 days thing. So I didn't really want to bounce around on different motorcycles. So I just kind of wanted to ride the 252 stroke exclusively, just so it was like, it's an old tennis shoe at this point. Like I know what it's going to do, you know? And Horn would be one of those places where like I'd be pitting twice as much as everybody else. And that's a huge amount of time to give up when you talk about it takes a lot of effort to make up 15, 20 seconds on another rider.
Yeah.
And when you give up 30 pitting or a minute because you do it twice, you know, over them, like it's a long time. You got to be way ahead to be able to pit. So pit strategy is a real factor, like, you know, and even this weekend I rode a 450, which I don't really gel with, but, you know, it gets better gas mileage and I had to pit less and you know what I mean? But even still, I did a 2-stop race, which I don't think I would have made it on 1 pit stop. Some guys do. Like maybe I'm a little too lead-footed or something. I don't know. I just burn up the gas. But yeah, I mean, I think like the pace strategy is a little different than Moto. I've been off-roading so long now that like, you know, I went to Loretta's a year or so ago. I actually with your dad and stuff, Lexi. Didn't your dad go to Loretta's? Yeah, we went to Loretta's together. That's right.
We got to see you guys.
Yeah. And I had a horrible Loretta's. My bike blew up. I ended up, you know, it was just a mess. Like I was like, this sucks. Like you come all the way back here and your bike blows up, and like it was a rough week. But you know, going moto and it's like totally a different. I've kind of lost that pure sprint ideology of like when the gate drops, it's go time. And off-road's a little more like I want to kind of get out in front, but I don't always like to lead. Like I'm kind of like the rider that's like, I'm cool if I'm in second or third and I can see the leader, or I know they're not getting away. Like then I'm happy being there, because I like most off-road stuff. You're riding at like 75-80% pace. I mean, especially like the Desert 100 coming up, like that's a race where like I've been told by a lot of old timers that have won that, and including myself now, I believe it. Like the fastest rider never wins that race. Like it's usually somebody that's like, you're riding at like a pace that's like just kind of a really aggressive trail race pace. Because if you go too hard, it bites you. Like you can't go for 3.5 hours, or you hit something and crash, and you know, I mean, and that's just kind of off-roading. Like you got to save this like capacity to deal with all this unknown terrain and what's around the next corner. And this corner is not the same as it was the last time I was here. I mean, it's like motoing, you can kind of go out and be like, dial in your lines and hit everything good and figure all the jumps out and just push. And off-road, it's like you're constantly trying to save a little capacity for this unknown element that's always lurking out there. So
Matt,
interesting.
And the Desert 100, the Desert 100 is a different type of race right there. That one's a killer.
Dude, it's one of the coolest races, but also one of the stupidest races I've ever raced. Every time I enter it, I'm like, why am I even doing this? Like it's prestigious, but it's not a race, but it's not like it's kind of this local hometown race that's like one of the biggest races on the planet that nobody knows about. I mean, it's just, but it's so much fun. Like it's just so much fun. But it's
Matt,
gnarly.
have you done it?
I don't know. Yes. I don't know if you, John, I think Matt does. No, Nat Wilder. Yeah. He my dad's one of his best friends with him, and growing up with him, the biggest thing he tells everybody, oh yeah, I'm the 2-time winner of the Desert 100. And that's just his name. Nobody knows what that race is, but if some random guy comes up to him, he's like, oh yeah, I'm the 2-time winner of the Desert 100. That's like his fame to claim.
Yeah, it's just, you know, just going to it and the scene and the whole vibe and how many people are there, and like, I mean, it's a city when that place is set up. It's unlike anything I think any dirt bike racer's ever been to, unless you've been to maybe like one of the bigger GNCCs on the East Coast or something. Or I mean, it's still not even like that. It's a whole thing unto itself. I mean, there's so many people that pull their motorcycle out of the garage that ride one time a year and go to the Desert 100, and you're just like, this is the coolest thing ever. I mean, you see the craziest stuff out there. You're like, even on coming around on lap 2, some of the riders you pass and what they're riding and what's going on. I mean, I'm just laughing in my helmet the whole dang time. I'm like, dude, that guy's like halfway through his first lap. What is happening right now? Like, I can't even believe he's riding that, you know? And there's just so much of that goes on, and it's so much fun.
Nice. Matt, have you done the Desert 100?
Awesome.
Yeah, multiple times. Years ago, I team raced it with Jonah Street a couple times, Dan Moore, Rob Flagler. We won. I think I've won the team race like 4 or 5 times back in like 05 to 09. And then I didn't race it, for quite a long time. We were there setting up a vendor spot. So we just were so busy working when I had my shop,
Right,
and tires and tubes and selling parts and stuff, that I took a long time off with it. And then I raced it again. I teamed it in like 2018. And took third. And then 2 years ago, I raced the 50 class when I turned 50, and I ended up winning it.
nice.
2 years ago, I won the 50 class there. And then last year, was the first time I hadn't been there in years, because we went to PRO where my son was hurt. And then we're planning on going back this year again.
Sweet.
Yeah.
John.
I just believe that PRO and Desert 100 on the same
That is
weekend.
the craziest
like,
thing to me.
I had to pick.
Like
I know.
The craziest thing to me. Ted and I have conversations every here and again, and I'm just like, Ted, man, like, can we figure this out? Like, I love the PRO series. Like, that's a fun series to do. Like, I went to the first round already this year. I went last year, you know, and then it's like, well, are you going to ride the whole series? Well, I don't know. Are you going to schedule around the Desert 100? Like, what do you want me to do here? Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
I think we're entering a race to the Grant stage.
yeah. He's always like, we don't get that much crossover. And I'm like, I think there's more than you know. I mean, I think there'd be a lot of people that would probably go to both, like if they were on different weekends or something. But, you know, I mean, Matt knows about this. You gotta hand it to these promoters, dude. Like, it's kind of a thankless job, and like they're limited on weekends and what they can do, and everybody's trying to put their series on, and like, how do you coordinate all of this stuff and like get everybody to like be symbiotic together between off-road, moto, all these different things? Like, it's next to impossible. But
It is.
but yeah, PRO and the Desert 100, those two overlapping same time. That one always boggles my mind. I'm like, you guys got to figure this one out. So,
well, that I think that's a rant for everyone, because I struggle with that as a promoter as well now, entering my 3rd year with my event down in Albany. That's why I put it in September. Like, after everything else, I'm like, all right, hopefully it doesn't conflict with any big events. And luckily it's not on top of Matt's Cowboy Cross, as far as I know. And then, you know, I also shoot for both Washougal and PRO, and they both have a Classic 7 and PRO on the same weekend. I'm like, guys, how am I supposed to be at 2 places at once? We'll figure it out.
The last rounds of PRO are the same weekend as Cowboy Cross, but
yeah,
it's tough. I mean, there's just not enough weekends to really make stuff work. I get it. It's difficult to do.
Yeah, I feel like I don't feel like we ill intent, in my opinion, on it. It's just it's hard having so much going on, and you know, at the end of the day, every promoter and every business is trying to make income. So you got to do it. You got to do what you got to do to, you know, have events.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the other side of it. Like, it's good for the industry that there's multiple like competing genres and events overlapping on top of each other and all fighting for dates. I mean, like,
right.
Like the fact that you're like running out of dates to run things on because there's too many dirt bike racing things that are going on and are being successful. That's not a bad thing. That's a really good thing for the industry. You know, I mean, it's just tough to balance it all. And you know, if you're a crossover rider like myself and a few of these guys that like to go moto and do off road and do the Desert 100 and like, yeah, you're bummed, but that's not very many people are not like running out to go race the pro class at PRO and then go try and win the Desert 100. I mean, it's not like, that's not very common. It does happen, but it's not very common.
Yeah.
Anyways, A couple final questions for both of you guys. John, I'll let you go first. Like, what's the rest of your season look like? And we'll have you on more as time goes on because I want to dig into your ISDE stuff. What's your schedule looking like for 2025?
Yeah, so this weekend I'm headed to the Black Widow thing. You know, I've kind of got this this pet project running in the background where I'm administering the Everett Power Sports race team and kind of building that up. So that's been a pretty fun thing to be involved in and collect riders and build another like local team. So.
Okay.
So I'm kind of running that in the background, but going to the Black Widow. The weekend after that, I'm doing the NMA race to get ready for the Desert 100, which is the white knuckle frostbite over in Odessa. Then go to the Desert 100, and then I think we got another Norcs race a week or two after that. And then I fly back east. I've got a place in South Carolina, and I'm going back there to do the ISDE qualifier, which is in Pennsylvania on the 20th, 21st. So that'll tell me a lot about what's going to happen for the rest of the year. If I end up qualifying for ISDE again this year, then Italy will be on the map for August or September, which I'll miss Cowboy Cross again because of ISDE. It's happened a few years. I was like, oh, Cowboy Cross, ISDE, Cowboy Cross. Oh, I gotta go to Europe. See you later, bye.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
Yeah, I somewhere this year an outdoor motocross national is on my bucket list. I haven't done one in a really long time, and you know I'm kind of an old codger now, but I'd like to go see if I can make the 40-man gate at an outdoor motocross national. Nice. It probably will not be Washougal because I just don't think I'm fast enough there. I need a Southwick or something like that where it's a bunch of sand whoops,
right?
Something that I could just beat little kids into the earth by. It's just being gnarly. You know, that's about it.
You're looking at the roster of who's injured and whatnot. And you're like, all right, this
exactly.
Deacon's out. We're in.
Later in the season, let's get later into the season. The attrition can kick in. Yeah, so that's the thing. I mean, there's been some Baja conversation. You know, I've never raced Baja. I've been asked to be on some pretty prestigious teams, like in my prior racing years. You know, and I got hurt and didn't get to go, and different things. And so Baja might be a thing, but you know, I mean, Norcs series locally. I'll hit some PROs. I might go to Friday night Pacific Raceways. I mean, I don't know, dude. It's just kind of like. So which way is the wind blowing that day? That's where I'm headed.
Yeah, your year's pretty much wherever it takes me each weekend. You don't. It seems like you're not fully like, all right, I'm doing this full series, doing this. It's like, no, whatever I feel like, I'm gonna go do.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it kind of comes from like. There was years where I was obligated to certain series, whether it was Works or Enduro Cross or you know different things, and you were told no. Like I remember there was years where it was like, no, you can't go race the Desert 100. No, that's a contract. No, that's out of contract. You can't race the Desert 100, and you would go do it and get in trouble, you know. But like, you know, you get obligated to these things, and then now I'm kind of more like, does it sound fun? Let's go. You know what I mean? Like whether it's a race series or not, does it sound fun? Cool, let's go. And now I got two kids I'm toting around with me, and they think they're factory pros on 65s, and you know the wife likes to ride. And so, you know, I mean, it's just like if you load the family in the trailer and just go somewhere and y'all go race motorcycles for the weekend and everybody's smiling when they come home, or sometimes the kids are crying because one didn't get a trophy and the other one did. I don't know. This is a whole dynamic. I can't even keep up with this. Like his graphics are cleaner than my graphics. His tires better. I'm like, dude, I didn't even have tires when I was your age. What are you talking about? I'm walking up in the snow both ways to dirt bike races. Bare feet. Didn't have boots.
Oh man, well, we're gonna have to have Lexi. We're gonna have to have a segment of like things my kids have said, like with Moto parents. Like,
there's gonna be a few good ones. I know that for sure.
I feel like your dad's got some stuff he hasn't revealed that drives him a little nuts.
Well, when I first started riding and he wasn't riding because he took it off some time, he tried to tell me something on the track, and I was like, Dad, do you even know
I
how to
remember
ride?
this.
And from there on, he was like, oh, I'm riding now.
Oh yeah, no. This is a factor. I've never really. This is mind blowing to me. I have these two kids. They will not listen to me about a single thing. I'm like, hey, why don't you check the gas in your bike so you don't run out? Or maybe you should shift gears. Hey, maybe you should ride the track in second gear or third or something like that. They're just like, they look at me and they go, what the heck do you know? Like, you know nothing. Don't even talk to me. Like, and then you got some random Matt Webb walks up and they're like, hey, you should probably shift your gear out there. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'll shift my gears. What else can I do? Can I throw some sick whips or something? Like, what can I do? And they're like sponges to everybody but me. And I'm like, okay, well, if you want to learn, cool, I'm here to tell you something. But if not, like, just go ride your motorcycle. You'll figure it out eventually.
It's
Matt,
funny.
It's hilarious. It is like, and I got friends around me like Phil Stevens. His son Cooper is like doing really good, and some other people. And it's like we've had this conversation where like we'll go ride at my track, and I can be like, hey Cooper, like do this or that, and Phil will have told him 10 times, and Cooper's like whatever, and then somebody else tells him, oh yeah, okay, cool, yeah, let's do that. So. I think it's just the nature of the beast. Your kids are not going to listen to you.
No.
I was gonna say, Matt, you have
it's like no, it's not going to happen.
What were you going to say? What's that?
I was gonna say, do you have little rebels as well that don't listen?
I have to, whatever I tell them, they don't listen. So therefore, I pay a trainer to tell them the same things that I told them. But yet I have to pay someone to tell them because I'm not cool enough or I'm not fast enough, right? So, Dad, you don't know what you're doing. So then I have, my kids are, they have trainers, and so they're like, God, they tell them the same. I've told you that. Well, yeah, but you're not cool enough or fast enough, Dad. So I'm gonna listen to the trainer.
All right. So
I'm in the same boat.
To your parents.
Yes.
I am in the exact same boat. Matt, you got a few years of experience on me. Your kids are slightly older. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just beating my head against the wall, just going, what am I doing? And they're just like, dude, you're a dork. You don't even know how to ride a motorcycle. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, well, Matt, what's the rest of your season looking like besides prepping for Cowboy Cross?
Yeah, just Cowboy Cross and Arena Cross race in September. And then I didn't race at all last year just due to my son's injury. I was focused on getting him better. So now did Norcs last weekend, Desert 100. I'd like to hit some old timers. I've never done those. And so I'd like to hit some old timers races. I know there's one at Burnt Ridge this year and one at Horn. So yeah, they sound like they're pretty fun. You get a lot of riding time. So maybe a couple old timers races, some Norcs races, and some motocross. I'd like to go over and run some Friday night races at Pacific. So nothing. No, I'm not set to any schedule or any series. Just a
free bird as well, doing whatever you want.
Just going wherever sounds cool. Yeah, and sounds fun.
Well, sweet. It sounds like we're going to be crossing paths a bunch this season with both of you guys because I go up to Moto Pacific almost. I try to do every Friday on the media side, and then we'll see if I get the microphone back or not. Royce is holding on to that microphone really hard this year, so we'll see if I can announce any events. But yeah, thanks for both of you guys jumping on, and then we'll have you guys come on further on throughout the season to get some updates with you, John, on all your fun events that you're doing this year. And then, continue to help promote for you as well, Matt, on Cowboy Cross and anything else that you have going on. So, I appreciate you guys jumping on here tonight. And, we'll catch up with you guys in a bit.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you. Keep up the good work.
All right.
Stoked for Northwest podcast going on. This is awesome.
Yeah. Keeping it growing. Lexi's keeping me in line here now. It's just taking over as the host, and I'm the co-host now. All right, we'll jump in, grind my gears, and we'll let Matt and John have their dinner tonight, and Lexi and I will finish up. So
Cool.
Stay tuned with us.
See you, John.
Right on.
Bye.
That didn't sound good.
All right. I didn't think I had my grind my gears moment, Lexi, but you know that I was very, very hot coming in before the show, and I'm still a little hot. I got a funny one for you because I already ruined it on my first day of my new job. I was power washing, and what grinds my gears is spraying my feet. It's a self problem. I power washed my own feet, and yeah, I already am causing chaos at Forest Glen Repair as their marketing manager and cleanup boy. But yeah, I somehow did that, and then I broke something already. Sorry, Randy. I went to go like put the hose back on the rolly spinny thing, and I pulled it, and the thing like yanked me, and it yanked the whole clip holder hanger off the door. I got water everywhere, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm about to be fired. So that's what grinds my gears is my personal problems and lack of sleep. Yeah, Christoph's a hot mess, but yeah. What doesn't grind my gears is I said farewell to Fred Meyer today. This was my final day, and yeah, we've moved on to new adventures of growing Forest Glen Repair as their marketing manager and parts runner and shop boy. I'm sure Stick's watching like, all right, you're the one that messed up the power washer. That's getting deducted from your pay. But yeah, looking forward to building that brand. And yeah, Lexi, anything that grinds your gears, you're always just happy-go-lucky. I'm just here. Doesn't school grind your gears? Like, I don't know.
Well, I've been doing pretty
Yeah.
good at school, you know. Got my welding class, my auto class, and that's pretty about.
How did the Algebra 2 homework do for you last Tuesday night after the show? Was that grinding your gears?
Well, you know, I thought that I was an amazing Algebra 2 student. And we took our last test, and the teacher, we turned them in. Everybody turned them in, and about 3 minutes later, he goes in front of the class and was like, "So I'm not putting this in the grade book. The class average is a 40%." I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I got mine back and got 1 out of 18. And I was like, "Hey, that's better than 0."
Attention, class, you are all stupid.
Yeah. But that has to reflect on the teacher. That's
what I
all.
mean.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm just
it
good.
was-
I'm just getting ready for my dirt bike and talking for the camera.
Yeah,
I don't
you
need
know,
no math. We don't need no math. That's all right. I don't know much of anything honestly at this point, but we still somehow get by day to day. But yeah, let's quick. I know we're past our hour mark, but quick recap. The PRO recap video was posted, and I got a few questions for you while I just have this really annoying ad just posted on top of us. But hey, I'm just gonna leave it there for people that love to read and know how to read. Do you have any self recap on yourself on me throwing you in the deep end as a post race reporter? How'd you feel? Were you nervous at all? Were you getting the meat sweats? Like, take us through.
Well, I love talking, so that one comes easily, but I just like figuring out questions and how to keep it rolling with questions to go after other questions. But I'm super excited to keep doing it and growing it and hopefully making this into my long-term thing after high school. So it's really cool to have the
Nice.
opportunity.
Yeah, Ted really liked it. He's like, wow, she did really good for her first time. Because I was like, yeah, I kind of precursored him like, hey, we're taking our videos a new direction, and Alexi's gonna do some post reporting, and yeah, I threw her in the deep end. So like, just kind of take that and know that I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna let Lexi do Lexi and see what happens. And I gave you some softball riders, but hey, we're gonna up the game here for our next rounds here. Are you nervous at all at any riders that I'm just gonna throw at you?
Nope, I'm excited. I'm excited to see or meet them all and learn new things about the track. that they have
Nice.
to say.
Any rooms of improvement from your boss at Gate Drop Productions? Does he need to be nicer to you or anything? Do you need to report to HR, which is also me?
I mean, he got me up early in the morning to do some in the morning, but other than that, I think it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I found the power cord for my big speakers. So
Yes, so we can blare music to wake me up in the
yeah, the
morning.
trailer might be shaking. Your dad might be like, Christoph.
Gotta have the best
Is there
songs
any?
also. I mean, so I'm
Is
only
there
gonna
any
wake up
good meal? Give me some advice so I don't get on the wrong side of Dan Y. Do I need to make sure there's a certain coffee ready at the door? Like, what do I need to do? Because I know I push buttons on people at times.
He's definitely a Red Bull drinker, but I think that if you play the song "My Bike's Too Lit," he'll wake up just as fast as I will.
I do have that song. I will make sure to stick a nice little Red Bull from Michelle from JMC ready just for Dan. Please don't hate me. I will start being even more annoying if Lexi is a little later. I'm just gonna start like rocking the trailer. Like, get up. But yeah, jumping in, just like we jumped into promoter stuff. Gate Drop Showdown 3.0 JMC is coming back. I need to update these statuses and sponsors and all that. Dirty Boy Lifestyles, Buckaroo Coffee Shop down in Albany has jumped on as a lead sponsor as well. So I want to say thank you. And I had a message earlier, kind of confused on a little bit of everything. So I just wanted to clear up like track activation, social media marketing, banner, vending, la-di-la-di-ya. In my PDF that's on GateDropProductions.com, if you can read Lexi and have read it through, each bracket has certain areas to where if you contribute a certain amount of funds, that's what you get in return. My bonus for this year, which if you follow my Instagram stories and whatnot, is if you jump on early, you pay early. So let's say you want to jump on March 19th tomorrow, and you post stories all the time about how you have a coffee shop going. This is your coffee of the day. I will reshare that free of charge as part of your package. And it doesn't matter what package you are. But the caveat is you have to be posting all your stuff like for me to share it. Does that make sense, Lexi? Or do I need to try to explain a little better? Because I had some confusion there from people. I'm like, as long as you're posting, so if you're a lawnmower company and you post, hey, our daily deal is buy one lawn, get two lawns free. I don't know. Like, but you make that post on Instagram, I will reshare that when you post it. So then my followers see that as well. So if you jump on early, you get more advertisement on that in your sponsorship. So if you're picking a basic sponsorship and you just want your logo on a trophy, that's what you get. But you get those bonus things if your business is posting that stuff. If you're picking a bigger bracket, obviously I'm going to advertise even more for you. But I just figured I would add that as a bonus. If you jump on early and help out, hey, I will reshare your ads and try to get my 6,000 followers that are organically growing to continue to, support your business and try to get you new stuff. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. I will try to write it out and explain it as best of my ability. I know even Lexi, I probably confuse you at times because my communication style is not the best, but I'm always trying in good faith and good heart, trying to make it as easy as possible. So all right, what's coming up this weekend? We need to wrap it up because my dog is literally like licking my toes right now. TMI. He's just like, we need to go on a walk. What we got for Lexi this weekend?
So this is still a little bit up in the air, but I'll either be somewhere at Woodland or somewhere at Horn, or doing whatever I'm doing anywhere else. But the weather ain't looking too good at Woodland, so I'd probably be at Horn.
You're like, weather's not looking too good. Meanwhile, I raced Woodland last weekend in the mud and was kicking butt. Okay.
Yep. It was a fun weekend. Like Sunday wasn't as bad as Saturday, so I'm really glad that I showed up Sunday instead of Saturday.
I went to church on Sunday. I think I pissed off my pew buddy because I started getting distracted because the Ring camera was going off, and I started looking at it, and then Instagram popped up, and then I'm all like, "Wow, Woodland's looking pretty dry." And then like communion came by, and I have my phone in my hand. She's all like, "Take the blood of Jesus," and I was like. Yeah, I'm going to hell. But hey, I will be at Pac West if I get enough signups. Due to my lifestyle changes that are currently going on, I need to take as much time as possible with my main business of helping Forest Glen Repair on being there, on growing their brand and whatnot. So that is my main focus this year. And if you want me to go, sign up for media in advance, because there's a chance I'm only doing one day. There's a chance I'll do both days, but I need at least $120 because diesel is like $4.79 a gallon. And we still haven't figured out the water cars yet where you can just run on water. So yeah, if you want me there, sign up for media, and I'm more than happy to get it. And quick turnaround time. I mean, Lexi knows. How fast am I with photo turnaround time?
Very quick.
You're not even home yet, and you're like, "Dang, how is he just popping them out?" All right, Lexi. For anyone that wants to follow you before you need to go, like improve your grades in Algebra 2 here, or get math help, slide into her Instagram.
Yes, le.xi_y on Instagram.
Yeah, and follow me at GateDrop_pro. Thank you, motosport.com for following me. I saw that pop into my DMs and got some other stuff. I'm all like, hey. I'm all like, hey, I worked for you. Do you remember this? I must be on the good side. I don't know. I don't know if I was even on a bad side at some point, but I saw them pop on. I'm all like, hey, what up? Oh, I don't know if I know you're a 509 gear girl, but did you see JMC Motorsports drop that new line of gear, that yellow and kind of burgundy red? Yeah,
I did see it.
Looking pretty cool. So shout out to I think Summerlin, and I don't know if I know Summerlin helps a bunch on there. I don't know if he designed it. I know Michelle does a bunch of designs, but JMC Motorsports, shop local. They've got rebates going on right now on Huskies and gases. They've got new gear coming out. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. And check out Forest Glen Repair, which I will be there at 5 a.m. We're done with graveyards, Lexi, but 5 a.m. is when I'm going to be there. Yay! Cleaning the shop. And yeah, we got some big stuff coming up. So stay tuned for all of that. And yeah, excited for the next chapter of my life and helping you out and getting you to the top step of the podium, reporting wise, or however we want. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. And then yeah, thank you to our guests, Matt and John, for jumping on here. And yeah, we'll definitely need to rotate even more and come through and bring our guests on, just kind of like the pulp shows, because we barely scratched the surface. I mean, I feel like there's so much more there, but being a 1 hour show, what can we do? Lexi, I'm probably gonna have to put you on the pay grade here on extended shows.
Yeah. 18
overtime, getting hit with overtime fees. So thanks everyone for watching. Tune in next Tuesday to recap everything that happened this weekend.